Okay.
Hi. Hello. Hi, Declan.
Oh, I'm sorry, I muted myself there.
Don't do that.
So
Don't leave me by myself.
I try not to. So how's your day been?
Very good, thank you. Been enjoying the bright sunshine in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Very good. So across the water, it's not too bad here in Dublin either. So let's get into it. Just introduce yourself. So Georgina, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I'm Georgina Hall, as it says on the screen. I'm a personal trainer. I've been in the fitness industry for about 9 years now, and I started off because I just love training. I like a lot of trainers. I love training, so I wanted to spend my time in the gym. I was boxing competitively for a few years, so my life was just revolved around training myself, training other people. So I think I mentioned to you before when we had a chat that my old style of training, because I was like train and get and smash things. I was like beasting clients by then. It was all hardcore, not a lot of empathy. And then as time's gone on, I've got a bit older and I've got a bit more chill. My training has developed as well, and much more about the holistic approach, psychological, emotional elements of it all, which is why I also started a female empowered podcast. It's female with a PH, if anyone wants to go and have a look at that. And it's aimed at primarily women, fans of, allies of women who want to learn about stuff that affects lives. We chuck in a bit of patriarchy, which obviously affects men as well, therapy stuff, periods, menopause, anything that you can think of really that affects women in their day-to-day lives, we talk about.
Cool. And I've listened to a few of those episodes as well, and they're pretty good. Very, very good.
Thank you
so much. Different full range of topics that's there as well.
So. An eclectic mix.
Yeah, exactly. So my aspect of getting into all this happened like just after I came out in 2011. Like I was in complete denial of how my health was at the time. My dad was prompting me to lose a bit of weight, and I kept saying, no, I'm fine. But I look back now, I know it was like that was emotional eating for me and what I was doing and denying everything. But after that came out in 2011, it started the process then of going to a photograph was taken of me in 2012. And that was like, okay, this is Irish Buddha. I nicknamed myself. So I had to make a change. And I was sitting down with friends either side of me. And I was just, I don't know, Mr. Marshmallow. But that launched me into the change of going down the fitness road then from 2012 and going through that whole journey of the highs and lows with it and not knowing what to do, learning, change and evolve. And I decided then in 2017 to go into a lifestyle program with my coach at the time, Ben Mudge. And that going to go down. I'm taking this even serious again. I'm going to go into another level of it, and to do like a photo shoot. And that was like this, like the pinpoint one level of fitness from unhealthy to being the healthiest I've ever been.
And I've seen the photos. It was well worth it. Photos.
It was an interesting process to get to that point, and very dodgy self tan, spray tan, and then self tan when the spray tan went wrong. and it was like streaking down me.
Oh
But
no.
that was like a crunch point for me, that let's train as a PT, and with Ben's push to get this going as well for me, I decided to go down the road and put everything I've learned over that period of time, then from 2012, into practice to help others as well. It doesn't have to be about weight loss. It can be about anything they want to do with their own fitness goals. And also the holistic side of myself as well, kind of try to approach that in too. So I was only had a discussion earlier on with a client about that exact thing, that yes, if you train, that's one thing, but get the stress underway, get the mindfulness going too.
Yeah,
So
I think it's something like 80% of diet fail, and it's like 80% of unsupported diets fail, because I think what people forget is that, well, I don't know, maybe they don't know to begin with, but most of it's up here. So like you say, you know, when you started, it was because you were emotional eating, and then a weight was lifted, and suddenly you had this freedom to prioritize your health and fitness and everything else that comes with it. And I think sometimes people go, okay, physiology, calorie deficit, and then that's all well and good, and they cut the calories and they might lose some weight. But if you don't do the mindfulness stuff around it, if you don't practice coping with your emotions and stress, then what will happen is, as soon as you stop with the calorie deficit, the weight will come back on. You haven't dealt with the things that have prompted you to emotionally eat, or you haven't gained that self-awareness that helps you to safeguard those kinds of things in the future.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. And like, for me, the training aspect is what I did the other way around. I focused on the training before I looked at food, and that's just because I lacked doing many movements whatsoever, and that and then went around the food side of things. But once you make these small little changes, they don't need to be dramatic, and that it's about developing just little habits that build up over time, and eventually become a normal lifestyle thing for you to do. And that's one thing we've been looking at in our notes from Sport in Ireland as well, that there's so much health and wellness that needs to be looked at within the community as well, that we generally do have a lower factor of people looking at their health into this manner as well. And hence why we're doing all this, to try to encourage more people to get involved.
Yeah. What do you think it is that prevents people in the LGBTQ plus community from getting involved sometimes?
Well, it's a little bit of being self-exposed, if one way of doing it, that really they're stepping out of a comfort zone as well. Like they do it, they don't want to be too out there and be themselves all the time, and that can be a hard thing as well. Sometimes it's like if you go to a gym and you have all this type of stereotype of guys and attitude and bravado and everything else, like you have all this, and you may not match up to that way too. And I certainly was like that, and I wouldn't have the confidence as well to go. So it's the confident aspect is a big thing as well, and that goes in any aspect of life, and it's important. But for me, and talking to people, that was one of the biggest things that was like an off-put for going to a gym, and how with certain people approach a PT as well. And a client recently contacted me and said, is it okay for him to sign up that he's trans? I said, of course it is. And that's like, but that was a big issue for him. Is that going to be okay?
Yeah, it's definitely a barrier to, like, not just exercise, but other things where you don't necessarily know how you're going to be received in a group environment. And I think a lot of people don't get that, because especially the type of people that I surround myself are very open and lovely people. It's like a nice little echo chamber. And, you know, when you tell them certain stories or things that have happened or things that people have said to you, they're so shocked, because they would never say that, or they would never behave like that. So they kind of don't realize that those kind of things happen. But there definitely is a kind of tentativeness in being openly yourself in new communities, new group environments.
Yeah, but it's like every circle of new friends you go into, you're going to have that dynamic. It's like you're coming out again if you have come out, or it's still that you're on that border of being you 100%.
I generally don't have to, Declan. Like, so, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, well, at this stage, like for myself, is exactly the same. But like I know, going back all those years ago, I was just thinking earlier today for our conversation, like the first time for me to even go into a gay bar, and that was like the Front Lounge, is one of the bars in Dublin, Street 66 now, and like I went in and examined the plant. And then I had a drink and walked out. My nerves.
I think I would do that, and you're a gardener, right? You know what I'm saying?
Gardener too, yeah.
I'm not, but I'd be like, oh, plants, horticulture.
Yeah. So having these elements then too was like that was a big shock for me to come out in that environment and really be okay with me. So I can understand that from a client's perspective as well, to come in to not knowing how I'm going to perceive them as well. They may not know that I'm gay as well, and to feel that more confident that they can speak up about other things that's going on with them. Well, because from a coaching perspective, we don't just look at the fitness or their health, we look about what's going on in their lives too.
Lifestyles, stresses, everything.
But we do approach upon that as well.
What feelings are you eating? Yeah, definitely. So. I actually, from this side of the table, I definitely went through a stage. Obvious, I went through a stage of I wouldn't be quite so openly vocal with clients. I wouldn't be like, oh, my girlfriend or anything like that, because you do have it in the back of your mind of, oh, what if they're not that accepting or that tolerant? That was years ago. Now I make it very obvious on all my social media. And everything about what my values are and what I stand for. Because now, if I had a client who was put off by the fact that I'm queer, I'd be like, well, okay, hun, not for you. Like, lots of personal trainers, lots of people needing personal trainers. You're never going to fit with everyone. So be aware of what you're coming up against here.
Definitely. And it doesn't have to be for overall health and fitness. It doesn't have to be in a gym. It could be in social groups as well. Like we have different clubs here as well in Ireland, kind of the Wet and Wild group, and kind of an activity, social events as well for hiking and canoeing. So you get to meet other people in the community as well and form bonds that way. To myself and my fiance David, like we've gone bachata lessons and that for salsa lessons and that for that's something else to do. It's fun and like you're energetic as well. So, but that's another area that still needs worked on, because it was difficult to get a class where a gay couple could dance together. So we still had that little factor there to work against, because I'm the shorter one out of the two of us. So I have to dance the female steps and try to learn the male and do that in reverse and female. In my brain, doesn't work.
It sounds hard. But the good thing about that, and the good thing about that kind of exercise, is that it takes your mind off the fact that you're actually exercising and you're like out of breath and it's hard work because you're thinking too much about it. That's what I like about boxing and stuff as well. Yeah.
And it's like, there's been times where a couple of clients in the gym as well, like in between their rest periods, we have a bit of a bop as well. I'm saying it's more movement.
Yeah, definitely.
So, well, what would you do? Not say differently, but what would be like a certain approach if you had someone like that is trying to know yourselves that they are gay or that they are, but they're not being 100% honest to you, and that
I'm training. Well, first of all, I've got this jumper on, which I wear quite often. And this, I put up a big rainbow flag the other day in the backyard as well, because that's where I train people outside. But I actually had it the other day where I had a client contact me because they said they wanted to start strength training, but it was a man, and he had come up against like kind of intimidation in gym environments before, so he never felt comfortable doing strength training in that kind of setting. And he came in the other day and he had a great time. It's like, my first question is generally, who's your favorite drag queen?
Okay.
Like, you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, right? Who's your favorite drag queen? And then it's all pretty like
That's a good icebreaker, and
Yeah.
I'll keep note of that. I'll have to kind of get up to speed as well. I haven't seen the last little while.
Have you watched it though?
I've seen an odd episode and that.
You need
So
to get into it. What I'll do, I've got one of my clients wrote me a league table of the best series. So
okay,
I've watched them all completely out of order because
yeah,
I've watched them in this order of like top tier, middle tier, low tier. So I'll send you that, and you can start with the top tier ones to get into it.
cool. And
someone's just said in the comments here, Declan, is this your partner, David?
my partner, yeah.
Oh, right. So he's saying before he met you, the first training that he went to was gay, and it mattered to me that I felt safer training with someone else that was gay. I had a negative experience before that in gym with homophobic gym users. Yeah, for LGBT clients, it's important to feel safe and secure, definitely. And he's well up for watching Drag Race, so.
Oh yeah. No, we'll be watching that.
Updates, please.
But yeah, it is important to be able to get out there and get active as well, and to improve your general well-being. And like with one client earlier, I was saying it's just to clear the mind, and that way, the way our minds operate, we can get ourselves pulled down and dragged down as well. As I said, I had the emotional eating and that because I was in denial that I was gay, and that, and I know that has to be a common experience as well, that we have our own vices that we turn to rather than being truthful to ourselves.
It's a numbing.
And I always use the expression, it's like I always use the expression to thine own self be true. And it takes a while to do that, and you have to open up a little bit. Sorry?
Is that are you taking credit for that one, or is that Shakespeare?
I think that's Shakespeare.
You can have it. You can have it. You just take it.
But I have been saying the last week or two, be seen, be visible, be known. And that.
Yeah, I saw that on your stories. It was the hashtag, wasn't it? Let's get visible.
Yeah, so it is important to do that, and we can all interact in some little way for our mindset. Like I know from your podcast, you have the wellness aspect as a good part of it. So, do you want to speak a little bit about that, or your approach to it on that end?
So the podcast tagline is not just another wanky women's wellness podcast. And the wanky wellness for me comes from the idea that you've got to do yoga and meditate and shop at Waitrose, all of which are lovely and all of which I do or have done.
Yeah.
But I think it makes it inaccessible for a lot of people who think I can't do that. That's not me. Whereas actually, if you kind of go like, no, wellness is just your life. Like it's about taking 5 minutes out of your day to check in with yourself and ask yourself, how am I actually feeling today? Cultivating self-awareness and bringing yourself a bit of kind of calm, peace in order to then pass that on to someone else. So yeah, the well-being aspect of it is just about mindfulness, mindset, movement, and nourishing your body with nutrition as well. Yeah, I think as personal trainers, you can tell me if you agree. I feel like I kind of hold the door open for other wellness practitioners, therapists, physios, yoga teachers, potentially, even Buddhism. I started this Buddhist course a few weeks ago, and a few of my clients have kind of got into learning about meditation and stuff through that as well, because they see why I like to go, and the why is always the important bit. So yeah, what do you think? Do you feel like personal training is like often a first step, a kind of acceptable step to take, whereas other things might have a bit more stigma attached?
Certainly, yeah, definitely. We open the door and lead the way, show the way, like shine a torch and give it a general direction. But then we have other elements of ourselves we incorporate in. Like, so I have my holistic and wellness background as well, and I would have been a Reiki practitioner, kind of spiritual healing, that type of thing, and meditation.
I love that. Love it. Like, you need to do a retreat, and I'm going to come to it.
No problem. I'll let you know. But that's like on my podcast, then I have some short meditations too, which is like a 5-minute one, 10-minute one, 15-minute one. No
What
music
is your
in
podcast, Declan? Give it a little shout.
the Flim Fit podcast.
Right. Let's
So,
all get on it.
so with that, then it's just very simple, just me talking and some kind of blankness that's there as well. So you could sit in the car and have 5 minutes in the car, sit even if it has to be in the loo for 10 minutes and just listen to a meditation or lie in the bath. It doesn't have to be anything prolific or spiritual in any sense of the way. It's a few moments to stop and breathe, to let the mind be at rest. And we've so much that's been going on, particularly the last year and a half for us all, that it's important to be able to take a sidestep away and literally be beside yourself, but in a good way. So you're out your head, but in a very relaxed way, in a calm way, and not out your head because of chaos or the way life has been as well, and with everything that's going on. So taking a few breaths. I always use the expression checking in. So I check in with myself, and
I like that.
I've said that to clients too, to just take a few moments to check in, see how you are. Is that the reason why this behavior happened, or this kind of, you've gone off plan a little bit with nutrition, but why is that? Go back and see where the stemming point is from that, and then move on from there as well. We've understand the mistakes and errors from that. That's great. And it's okay to have a blip, and we're always going to have a blip every so often, and we'll backtrack, but then we go back again. Because another expression I'd use that, yes, it's great to hit rock bottom, that we've a solid foundation to build from again.
Yeah.
So,
that reminds me of this book that I read. It's called Broken Open.
Okay.
It's a fantastic book to read if you are going through anything, like if you know, a breakup or some form of loss of any kind. It's a great book to read, and it talks about the fact that you are, when you are broken, you are literally broken open. You've got the cracks there to let the light in, and it's this kind of analogy of hitting rock bottom. You've got something to push back off as you come up.
Yeah, maybe if you want to throw in a gardening term, even the most, the test weed and that will grow in the most hideous of spaces and become something beautiful. And that we can all do that as well. We can all we have moments where we're not great with ourselves, mind, body, soul, but with that growth that we allow ourselves to go through, then we can become something completely different by making only 1% change a day. One tiny little fraction of a change. So that'd be my approach as well to clients too, that I'm slowly incorporating in. I have some clients that are just general, everyday, normal way of approaching things, and others are more interested in the holistic side as well. So I'm kind of bridging the two areas of my interests with people.
Little things every day. It doesn't have to be anything profound. I told someone today, I was like, it's like the amount of people who don't want to sit with themselves for 5 minutes in meditation or think I can't sit still for 5 minutes. I was like, most people make some form of hot beverage in their day. Most people, or even if you're making a juice, you can still do the same thing. Make your cup of tea mindfully. Think about what you can hear. Think about how the spoon feels while you're stirring it. Sit down. How does the cup feel in your hand? What's the temperature like? Look at the steam coming off it. All of that brings you into the present, which is what meditation and checking in with yourself is about.
Yeah, definitely. And like we as a community need to be able to link up with others as well. And well, we check in with ourselves and be important to ourselves, but also check in with others too, as well, and kind of keep that bond that we have together as well, that we are stronger united together on that front. And to take part, so don't be afraid. And if anyone isn't out, don't be afraid to still come and join some like groups as well that will be accepting and open, and get out there, and like for your mindset as well, for that element of it, to be okay, I feel free now, I can be myself for a few moments as well, for a couple of hours with a walk with a group that won't judge me and just let me be who I am as well.
You don't have to turn up with a rainbow t-shirt on and a flag.
No.
Like that's not for some people. And I think Harvey Milk said like that queer people need to be visible, and there needs to be different forms of representation, just like there are of heterosexual people, because not everyone is like openly woo queer, and there's different points of the spectrum, and you can be on whichever point you want to be.
Exactly. Yeah, but like it's there. Kind of the fitness side of things is there for everyone, and it's open and accepting. And maybe it is important, like that people do know that there is gay PTs out there, and that there's members of the full spectrum of the LGBT plus community working within this industry that are there helping and willing to support them as well along the way.
Yeah, and what I would say for that with advice, is if you are looking for that, if you are looking for a kind of blatantly open, safe space, just have a look at some hashtags on Instagram, because I definitely put gay personal trainer a lot, LGBTQ wellness, and I always tag Newcastle upon Tyne so that people who are in the area can find someone who's part of it.
Yeah, I think we still have my other half comment in there.
I love that. I love that. Mine will be set.
If anyone has got any questions that's listening in on that on YouTube and Facebook, and thanks for joining us. Yeah.
How difficult is it still in Ireland being outwardly gay?
It's been a big difference now, since particularly since 2015 when we had the marriage equality referendum. And like it was a landslide victory that was there too. But there is still instances that would go on that can be not what we expected, and it's only happened in the last week as well within Dublin and in Waterford at the moment. But the community is still stronger together, and like it's been mentioned, it's been called out, and that's what we have to do as well, because we don't need any of that anymore. It's the modern era. But it was great for me, like, to be able to walk down the street and hold my partner's hand. We do it, and we do it with pride and confidence, not just at Pride, but throughout the year. But I remember years ago that wasn't a common thing to see, but from 2015 that became more and more common to see it, which is fantastic.
I think even now, like, even if I'm walking around Newcastle, if I see two men or even two women holding hands, I'm like, I kind of do a double take, and I'm a bit like, oh yeah, mate.
Yeah, David does that all the time.
Yeah, big up the guys.
So it is just like let the world be seen who we are, and that, and like there's no need for us to be hidden away anymore. Like, be out and be proud, and of course for those who aren't out, it's kind of do it in your own time, never feel pressured as well, and that takes a lot of confidence, a lot of gusto to be able to do that as well. And you do it incremental little stages to one or two people, and that helps improve the mental aspect as well, and you just feel that little bit more confident, feel that little bit more relaxed too. But and I know from talking to a couple of people as well in that respect, it does alleviate some of the pressures that are there. They just feel that more at ease too, and it's never too late either.
Yeah, you know what? I've been giving out some. I think I'm at that age now where people's parents message me about their kids being gay, rather than, and I'm like, oh, I must be getting older. But it's happened a few times recently. People have messaged me on Instagram saying, oh, my daughter's just come out to us, or my son's just come out as trans, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, great. And I keep recommending this book, which I had around, but I've lost it. I think it's called This Book is Gay. So if anyone is seeing this and they're kind of questioning or curious, that's a really good book to read. Or if anyone's kids are questioning or curious or have recently come out, it's a good book for them.
That's good. I'll get that name off you again later on. But yeah, so one thing that, like, how have you looked after your health and well-being over the last year?
Kind of. Well, everything that we've just said. Movement, not necessarily like balls to the walls movement. Sometimes just gentle movement. I do Pilates a couple of times a week. Meditation. And then one thing, actually, meditation's probably come up in the last 18 months as well. But one thing that I think you will like, that I've got really, really, really into from lockdown. Plant.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with plants, and I just think it's so good for well-being because I'm nourishing something else, and in nourishing something else, I'm nourishing myself.
Yeah, definitely. And I apart from me, I'm a horticulturist too, but I interviewed another horticulturist about 3 weeks ago for my own podcast, and he's an organic grower and a PT. So it's there's other elements that it should all bond together.
Yeah.
And he encourages his clients to eat as much organic food. Now, that's his preference. We all have our little niches that we go down into. And there is, as a grower, I'd say, yes, there is benefits of organic food as well, but it's not the end all and be all too. So it's about just good nutrition. And that's the one thing that we were talking about. And like looking after your nutrition as well, even if you find it difficult to get involved in exercise, just get your food right.
Yeah, and walk, because most people can go for a walk or do something along those lines. You don't have to think, I've got to go and exercise. You don't have to go to a place and do something. Just set off for a walk. Put a podcast in your ears. Put one of our podcasts in your ears and set off for a walk. And then support that with good nutrition, which good nutrition is generally whole foods with a bit of what you fancy.
Yeah, that's it. And like I know you're with yourself as well. You're the same line as me. You don't discount any foods. Everything is open there to be had as well. If you fancy it, have it as well. It's only
unconditional permission to eat.
Yeah, and the only one word is just moderation. That's all. That's it. Have what you like, and just have it in moderation too. So I still have my big pizzas every so often. I only had one last night as well. But you need to have these things. If anyone's getting involved in their own fitness journey and only starting out, small little changes is all you need to do as well. You're going to have a good breakfast. Do it as a mindset thing to have a good breakfast and get that down over a month. And that of just having a good start to the day and build little mini habits like that.
Yeah.
So what would be your kind of next point you would give for someone just starting?
I've actually just written a list of journal prompts for helping people to start building habits. So you have to. Sounds like self-plug, but it actually wasn't. It just came up. If you have to go follow me on Instagram, and then you'll be able to catch them when I post them later on. So it's a little bit like what you've just said. Like, say if having a healthy breakfast, as an example, is your thing. You would have some prompts of what you're going to do and how that's going to make you feel, the why and everything that goes with it, because it helps you to ingrain that. And when you're thinking about sacking it off, you've got in the back of the head, no, I'm meditating because I want to be a calmer person. I want to kick off less, which is why I started. I need to stop telling people on the internet to off. So I'm going to start practicing mindfulness. But just keep it simple. I think a lot of people think I've got to do everything. I've got to get rid of all the crap in the cupboards and I've got to exercise every day. It's too much. It won't last. First day, go for a walk. Second day, go for a walk and eat something nutritious. Third day, go for a walk, eat something nutritious, get a good night's sleep. Just build things up that are really simple things gradually. Yeah.
It seems of all topics, we have to say it. If you want to eat nutritious stuff as well, that's full of nutrients, eat a rainbow a week. So eat
and that's very good, isn't
of each color spectrum over the course of the week. You don't have it during the day. Now, over the course of the week, you're eating a rainbow, and then you're getting all the nutrients that you need as on micronutrients. And that by having all the different antioxidants.
And I'm blatantly steal that. That's going on my social media. Thank you. I'll give you a little credit.
So, but that is just an important thing I always say to people, that once you get all that in, it's like you're having eat your Skittles, but enjoy your natural Skittles of your fruits and vegetables and that gives you all the energy you need. And you'll see then how your mindset changes and how your energy day-to-day changes as well by incorporating little things like that in as well, and finding what works best for you, what gives you that oomph that you need as well.
Have you heard of gut microbes or something like that? It's about the link between food and your mood.
Yes.
So what you're doing there, and I've got 2 more book recommendations for you. You'd think that I've planned this. I want to see how much they're just here. Is Butter a Carb? Talks about the link between food and mood and how your gut is like a second brain, and how to do the work. That's the holistic psychologist, she's called on Instagram. That's an amazing book about self-healing. And part of that is about, eating whole foods, nutritious foods, nourishing yourself, and then watching your mental health improve because of that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Our gut does really affect our mood and mindset, and a hormonal level and everything else too. All around the area, if a lot goes on around there, all the different glands in the body. We won't get too in depth with the physiological side of things, but there's so much that goes on around there. And
I have to start reading from my book.
Sorry?
I have to start reading from my book. If we're going to get technical, I'm going to have to...
But it's just to look after those things and nourish your body in that way as much as you can. As again, just little incremental changes too, and form habits like that over time that eventually become a lifestyle that just becomes second nature then over a period of time. You don't even have to think about it, and you get to a point where you might start off with calorie tracking. Some people that works for that. Some people it's just hand portions, or you get to know your food that way. Again, it's not for everyone, but you get into a system that works for you, and then it comes second nature.
Yeah.
And
I would really advise with actually, and I know it's a privilege, but if you can get support from a professional, because it will just save you so much time and so much wasted energy if you have support. So if you've got no idea and you're a complete beginner, get support from a professional. And you don't have to pay loads of money. You could drop me a message and I'll answer a few messages before I charge you. So if you have got any questions, just send one of us a message, and we'll help you out, or we'll let you know how we can support you.
Yeah, because you can get loads of information on the web, but it's piecing it together in the right manner that you get the results. Otherwise, it's a big chaotic jigsaw puzzle, and you're trying to extrapolate bits and pieces from here and there to make something that fits for you. And you'll have all these methods, and you see it all on social media. This is the right way. This is the efficient way. No, each one of us are unique, and our approach to it needs to be somewhat unique as well for how your body responds to a type of workout or a type of nutrition. Is that there is a whole spectrum there to examine. So speaking to a professional will help narrow it down. We won't get exact answers straight off. We need to process of elimination, but getting there bit by bit.
But I want the answers now.
That's the thing, isn't it? Many want to instant effects, but it does take time. But it pays off in the end to have patience.
Delayed gratification. That's a lesson. I was talking about that today, right? So, I sometimes on a morning, on a weekday, because it's like a treat weekday thing. Like on a Wednesday is a good day for it because I teach Pilates in the morning. Okay, so I like to walk down to a bakery that's down the road, and I get a cup of coffee and a really delicious pastry. It's like raspberry custard Danish. And then I was talking about the fact that I'd just come back and now I've got to teach Pilates, so I don't have time to eat it right now. So I have to have it. One of my clients says, "Oh, that is completely foreign to me that pastry's even made it home." And I was like, "Yeah, but look at it this way. This is an amazing pastry. So I've got 2 options. I can either walk up the hill and I'll be out of breath while I'm walking, trying to snaffle this pastry whilst this car's going past and I'm checking the time because I've got to be somewhere. Or I hold on to it, I teach Pilates, and then I take the time to sit down and my only focus is going to be this pastry. And in between every mouthful, I'm going to be like, That's delayed gratification, and it's so much better.
Yeah, definitely. You get on well with David.
Me and David are going to have a weekend together. I'm going to come to Ireland.
And Karen is your partner, is it?
She's my client, Karen. And she's Irish, so she's getting right in front of you. I said, this will be right up your street, Irish and gay.
So, yeah, from good old Laois, and that. So we're heading down to Laois now next month.
Yeah, I'm coming too.
So, but yeah, but continuing on from that, it's like take small steps, and like again, it's all for your own mindset and moving into a system that works for you. And that you don't have to worry about what anyone else is doing, what anyone else's training is doing as well, or how quickly you're progressing compared to someone else. It doesn't matter, and that you're perfect in your approach to it, and in
Lady
your.
Gaga said something like that, didn't she?
Who?
Lady Gaga said something like that.
I'm not quoting Lady Gaga now.
You're beautiful in your way.
Yes, yeah. Well, I have one of our Born This Way is something I always play. That's one that gets me into the mindset as well. So I'm playing that on the way to the gym. Song. Yeah, that's a hype song, and that. But it's something that to just get active in some little way, and it helps in so many different aspects: mood, emotion, your own spiritual well-being. If you approach that side of things as well, it's not for everyone, and that's completely fine. But do what you can to be as healthy as you can be as well. Okay, we're not doctors, we can't go down roads like that, but we can go down roads of just getting moving better and active in that way. And that's what a PT will do for you as well, or a fitness coach as well. Do go into a local boot camp even to start off with. Even if you're, for me, I also, Georgina, want to approach people that don't want to go to the gym. It's too much of an environment for them.
I don't want to go to the gym.
So I'm sure you know as well the benefits of even just using a simple power band and that working from home. I know, like, we've all done it probably for the last year and a half and probably sick of it, but there's some people that is the best environment for them to be in as well, just to get the initial stages going. So
I like working out at home and outside. Being outside is my absolute favorite thing. And I think you get way more from working out outside because you sometimes today get vitamin D, fresh air, nature. And if you want to get hippie, I think bringing ourselves back to nature is like, it's a game changer.
Yeah. And we were chatting before, myself and Georgina, and one thing you did mention there about doing your workouts outside is that you throw in potting a plant as well, or just something different.
Yeah, I've had my clients outside potting sunflowers. We're having a sunflower competition, but like they'll do a few deadlifts and then put some gravel in a pot and then do a few more deadlifts, put some soil in, couple of step up, put a seed in, water it. We're having a lovely time. It's a one-stop wellness shop.
But that's the thing, like with doing movements and being functional movements like that, you apply them into your life too. So I will put my hands up and say the last week or two, I haven't done active training for myself apart from two days, an upper body and a full body day, because my gardening work is physically active too. But it's because I'm doing the training, I'm able, like yesterday, 3.5 ton of stone I had to shift, and 2 ton of bark the other day. But because I looked at my health and wellness, that side of things, I'm able to do these things in a practical and daily environment as well. Or I also say 2 kettlebells, you do your kettlebells either side for your deadlifts. Well, there's your heavy bags of shopping. Same principle. Yeah. And that, so having just functional movements.
Do you know, I went to buy this big bag of compost yesterday, and this little old man who sold it to me was like, will you be all right getting that to your car? Do you want me to lift it for you? And I was like, I've got this, mate. I've got it.
Yeah.
I could lift it as well with my overhand.
That's the thing. Like, it's not being egotistical, but you have like a better sense of confidence in yourself.
It's empowering.
It's so empowering. And it is. I'm sure you found it as a pain to get involved in fitness to begin with, or whatever activity you started off with, but then it became a joy for you.
Yeah, so it's definitely some things. Like there's certain things that I still don't like doing now, and I'll do it just because like it's good for me. Eating vegetables sometimes I don't want to do, but I do it because it's good for me. David's just said hiking is the best, and I 100% agree. If I could only do one form of exercise, it would be hiking because again, it covers all bases: outside movement, mindfulness. So
and that's one of the social groups that we have that do a lot of hikes, and that I have to actually force feed them veggies. But like myself and Dave are going to start going out with the groups then as well over the year. I think we've booked in for one. I think for either the end of this month or early next month, and that. So to do that one, but just get out and like and be active in that way, and just for the scenery, landscapes, seeing the environment, exploring as well. That's just good of changing your environment from where you are constantly, and that, and particularly with last year and a half being stuck in a certain limited space. Get out and see nature. Go out and see flowing water as well. Sit, just listen to it. And it's just so peaceful and soothing for the mind and body. Or if you want to be a little bit more adventurous, you can join along the Couch to 5K that the Dublin front runners have been doing as well. So we've Pride Run going on from the 18th to the 25th.
Oh, nice.
So myself and Dave are doing it on Sunday.
Oh, I'll look out for your Insta post on that. I don't think Newcastle Pride is until late July, I think. I maybe should have fact checked that before I came on here.
Yeah, well, Dublin Pride be at the end of the month, but we have our Pride Run starting from the 18th. So, which it's all virtual this year, as with everything else.
Yeah, I quite like it, mate. I like the solitude.
But you never know who you might meet when things go back to normality and all meeting up then too. Like the Pride Run is normally done in Phoenix Park, and myself and Dave done it a couple of times as well. We're actually in the same group the year that we met, but we didn't meet at the actual at the run. It was a few months later. But you can meet friends and meet other organizations there and groups too, and just have that social connection as well, and that helps build that bond.
And what I would say is this last 18 months since lockdown has been especially difficult for a lot of queer people because of the isolation. And I know a lot of people have suffered with mental health and loneliness and feeling isolated. But some people, if you're a queer person who doesn't have that many close queer mates, and then you've lost out on that community aspect of going out to bars or clubs or groups, whatever it is that you've been doing. It's another reason why people's mental and physical health have suffered, because they don't have the confidence for that. So with things opening back up, if you can get out, meet other people.
Yeah, and you can never have too many friends. Never, because you'd always find a hiking partner then that way, no problem.
Yeah, and if anyone one of them in the northeast, just drop me a message. I love a hike, and I'm definitely coming over to Hiking Island with you too.
And there's I forgot there as well as for another social aspect too that David does is the drama group. Then in the outhouse.
And honestly, like me and David are actually soulmates. You need to move aside, Declan, because we're gonna go hiking. I used to be an actor. So I'm all over this drama group. And I'd rather eat pizza than veggies. So we're gonna have a beautiful time watching Dragways.
But it's it's acting out. So it's like finding an outlet just to meet up with others and to be social and have fun as well, and that so much improves. Like get that good serotonin going as well, having the laughs, the giggles, and that too. And you'll find then as well, like you have, I don't have the word on it, but there's a trigger that goes in my mind that I hate when I'm doing a workout. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And all of a sudden, I love it. I love it. But like getting into a new experience like that, it can be difficult, and it can be, no, I can't. But then you keep going back, and then there's a love for it, and then it becomes a normal thing for you. It becomes very accepting for you, and it just lets you be fully yourself.
And I think people have a misconception that fitness professionals must just love training. I actually train less now than I ever have. And sometimes I really can't be asked. Sometimes I don't even like training anymore, which is sometimes true. But what my point is that don't rely on motivation. Don't expect yourself to be motivated. Just do it, in the words of Nike. And something is better than nothing. Motivation will drop, but you've got to do it anyway. Like, I'm not motivated to clean my teeth, really. I don't have a fun time doing it, but I've got to do it every day, because otherwise I'll be a thinker. So it's the same with exercise, really. Sometimes if I can't be bothered, I say, right, I'm just going to do a set of squats, a set of deadlifts, and a set of lunges. And then more often than not, once I've done that, I'm then to a workout, and it's just, you never feel weird for doing it, do you?
I've done exactly the same thing, and I just focus on the compound movements. So just the bigger movements, get those done in and out, 20 minutes, and it's better than nothing. And like even starting out 10 minutes, even just doing 10 minutes of activity, and you build upon that. If there's a circuit workout you do, and you add on an extra round, then because you have that little bit more energy and you're kicking ass that day, do it. So just take the advantage of stepping up and living your best life, and that by just looking after here as well, and looking after the emotional self within all this.
Absolutely.
And I think us as coaches, so we're not life coaches, not unless we've trained that way, but we still have a responsibility that way, in the same respect, to encourage people to do the best things for themselves, to be fun, be adventurous as well, and take charge of situations too. I know from my own coach as well, he noticed even when my tone of voice changed that there was something wrong with me. And I would never forget that moment as well. It's like feeling down within myself. So like, if you work with a professional, that's part of our job too, just to know you and get to know you better. Sometimes maybe than you know yourself. And we just see these elements.
Well, when you're a coach, when you're a proper coach, when you're a good coach, it's not just if you're only talking to your client about the exercise that they're doing and what they've eaten, you're not a fully rounded coach, because every part of their life feeds in what you're doing with them. You know, if you've like haven't stuck to your plan, then there'll be a reason why. Everything is leaving clues. So let's explore that. There's no judgment. There's no shame. Let's make it work for you. So I agree. I'm actually writing a course at the moment to drop in September, hopefully, with a therapist. Because as a coach, you do kind of become an unofficial therapist, and I think that everyone should have an official therapist. So the two of us are combining nutrition therapy and movement and habit stuff to bring a fully rounded course together.
That sounds excellent. Excellent approach to it. And I will say, I haven't mentioned it during our chat, that we will be dropping a little, myself and GCN, a little competition next week as well for a 3-month training plan. Online.
I'm going to win your training plan. I need someone to motivate me.
No problem. I'll just keep giving you WhatsApp voice notes. Do it.
Yeah, I need it.
But so we'll drop that. So watch out for details for that in the coming week as well. If you were to give like a roundup point of 2 or 3 things to, I won't say inspire someone to get up and active, what would your 3 key things be?
Keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Nutrition and movement. Keep it simple. Walking and whole foods.
Yeah.
Be patient. Don't expect results all at once.
Mm-hmm.
The final one. Get support.
Yeah.
Get support. It's much easier if you've got a group or a pal to be accountable to. I think those are top 3. They're quite general, aren't they? But I think it needs to
be. But they're the main ones, some of the main things as well that we would always spark on about as well. Having your good nutrition, being active in some little way too, that you're basically, if someone wants to lose weight, say, you just have to walk a little bit more and burn off a few more calories. It doesn't have to be a profound amount and that compared to what you take in. Minor little changes and that, but nutrition, increase your activity as well, and get one thing we haven't mentioned, and I'll just touch on it now, is get good quality sleep.
Yeah, good quality sleep.
And that, because that's where our body and mind recovers as well. That's where muscle
therapist. That's like the end of every podcast. I'm like, everyone get a therapist. If you can, if you can afford a therapist, get one.
Yeah, but it's to speak up and speak out. And that if you need help and assistance in some way, it's important to be able to do that. And like there's plenty of hotlines there as well, and services you don't have to speak to someone that you know, but there's always a listening ear as well. And if you do work with a PT and coach, they have and should be 100% confidential as well of what you say with them, because it is, as you say, the holistic aspect of their changing, evolving themselves in some little way too. And just speak out and don't have it buried down. Never have everything buried down in your mind. And that I've been there, I've done that too. It's not a nice place to be. So once you're able to speak out, it makes so much difference to your world.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to end it then, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's just coming exactly up to that.
Yeah, lovely.
So you can be contacted at, I can see there on your handle there.
It's like the X Factor at GPT Georgina.
Yeah, and it's a female podcast with PH.
Female empowered with a PH.
Yeah, empowered.
And we must record a podcast together. No.
Oh, we will. We will. Of all things, health, fitness, and holistic, we shall do that. So it's Declan Flynn podcast and just Declan Flynn.fitness, and same thing, Declan Flynn Instagram. So that's how you can contact us. Any questions as well? Like I said, we will do our best to get back to people as well. If you don't feel you want to have a question with us today, you can DM us always, and we'll happily get back to you as well. So I think that's us.
Yeah. Lovely.
Great chatting with you.
You too, Declan. I'll see you soon, and I'll see you soon, David, when I come for my trip.
Definitely. We made up.